Greetings, folks. Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee, with Lucy on my lap and Tasha sleeping on the floor. I'm talking with Valerie K, Email Marketing. Valerie and I go way back. When once upon a time I had a women's mastermind. Valerie was in the mastermind. We talked a lot about email marketing, and we're gonna do it again because I don't know. I can never talk too much about email marketing. Or maybe I can always talk too much about email marketing. So, Valerie, just catch people up. What are you doing? Where are you going? You know, anything you want to tell people about yourself.
Or even on like really good emails.com. I love to go there and kind of see what other people are doing. At this point in my life, I run my own company and I also have a few clients. So, anywhere from building out templates for clients to developing A/B test strategies for clients just to figure out how they can grow their list or how they can get more revenue for their businesses. I kind of do all of it. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for about 8 years now. So only getting better, only getting smarter.
Sometimes we could do it in our sleep. Sometimes we do it in our sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting to hear a unicorn, the person that does it all, as opposed to just the email marketer that has to do a specific role. Not saying one is better than the other, but I'm a unicorn, and I get thrown into it. So it's more of a problem solving, which I totally enjoy. Then, here are the tools we use. Be at the desk at 9 o'clock. We have meetings every Tuesday. Instead of all the rules, I sort of enjoy some amount of chaos.
I agree. I love a good challenge as well. And I love being nimble. I love kind of flexing that muscle and trying to figure out, okay, how can I break this problem into smaller problems? What are they saying on Stack Overflow, or what's ChatGPT say about solving this problem? I love it. I love all of it. And here more recently, I've gotten more into like the analytics side of it and looking at, A/B test results and click-through rates, open rates, and kind of figuring out, okay, this is what we were doing last year. How can we improve? Looking at click maps and all of that. I don't know. The last couple of years, I've definitely gotten more analytical. And I love that for me. Helps with building out good strategy too.
Yeah. I'd say that analytics, it's sort of like a cycle, you know what I'm saying? And your strategy may be built before you get to 6 months or a year or whatever, any amount of trending analytics, where you look at you're like, the goal is generally, make money, convert. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's generally the goal. But your strategy, as you apply it to that, without analytics, it's like, let's try it, and you try it for 6 months and you may not have enough data. You try it for a year and you may come to some very odd conclusions. Like, oh, this isn't working.
Yeah.
The content isn't working, or the frequency is whatever it is. And sometimes you find that email marketing is certainly not, and never was, and should never be, in the silo all by itself. And you turn around, and you're saying things like, are we trying to do webinars? Are we trying to go out? And what are we trying to, what are we doing here to get the people into the list? Because this list is not working.
Right.
Like, where do we get new blood? And they're looking at you going, well, don't you prospect?
Nope. Not
Like,
my thing.
that's,
That's definitely something that I'm not skilled at. They come to me when they already have the
yeah.
list.
And the thing
So,
is, prospecting is a whole different,
oh yeah,
we were talking before
I
about
have
being
no idea.
specialists. Prospecting and nurturing and all those things, that's in the email process, but that the email process of nurturing is not the same thing as the prospecting that sales does. And if you're thinking email is going to do that end of sales, that's problematic. You need a sales marketing person to work with your email marketing person.
Mm-hmm.
And if your email marketing person is very sales prospect oriented, they may not be email marketing. It's very different. It's like getting an event managing an event manager and then throwing email marketing in their lap and expecting them to be like, oh, I got this. It's like event management is totally different.
Yeah, not related at all.
Not related at all. And I'm not saying you don't email market event management. I'm merely saying they're not the same skills. I mean,
No.
event management is looking, I need food, I need coffee, I need tablecloths, I need tents, I need email marketing. Who's going to do the email marketing? They're thinking on a different level. So, and that's sort of my, what I believe. I'm sorry, it may or may not be what companies are doing, but I may suggest that companies consider this, that they don't put email marketing in the silo, but they get an email marketing specialist that
Mm-hmm.
is flexible within email marketing and can solve lots of problems in email marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's associates around that email marketing person can bounce ideas off of and can get solutions. But if you're looking for, if you're looking for an email marketing person that's been in event management, well, that's the solution they're going to provide you.
Right.
And once you're out of event management or you need a solution somewhere else, they may or may not be able to solve your problem because they're not a real email marketer. They're event management. So with all that said, I'm all for the unicorn. I'm all for the unicorn. And also one of the things we had mentioned was before when we were warming up was that most email marketing people love ESPs. Give us an ESP. It's like filet mignon. Like what? You're gonna let me in to see what this ESP is like. I've never been there. I can't wait. And it's not like, oh, I don't know how to use it. It's like, oh, I don't know how to use it.
Right. It's like a new toy, a new shiny
It's
toy.
exactly that's how we think. Now, someone else may be like, oh, something else in my tech stack. Are you kidding me? I don't know how to use it. I have to go to school and get certified. No, just give me a week in there and I'll
Right.
figure it out. And the unicorn will figure it out. So if you're hiring somebody that's only been in one ESP, okay. If you hire somebody that's got about 10 ESPs, you could tell that their brain is always working.
Yeah.
That smokestack is behind their head. That wood's burning. So,
yeah. I was gonna say, well, before, I don't know if you know this, Joy, but maybe you do. But I used to be a teacher before I pivoted into tech. So I taught in Houston for a while, and then I taught overseas, and then I moved to New York and went to a coding boot camp. But I learned a lot of different programming languages in the coding boot camp. But the main takeaway to this day that I still apply is you got to be flexible in tech and Google everything and just figure things out like that. So especially when I've gone through all these different nonprofit, I've been in the telecommunications industry. I've worked with, solopreneurs. And when I work with an ESP that I'm not familiar with, I just literally Google everything. The smallest questions I put into Google. Now I might put that into like ChatGPT or Copilot. But yeah, the answers are out there, but you just have to be curious. And, I love a good challenge. So it's really working for me.
Isn't that funny that you said you went to boot camp? It was probably when you were learning the programming languages that you said to yourself, "Oh, this is fun." As opposed, and that's really, I
Yeah.
never thought. I mean, I had always been a problem solver, but it wasn't until I was faced with different programming languages where I was told, here's what you're trying to do, solve the problem, and you solve it with
Mhm.
code. And I thought, this is fun. I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't think I would ever say that. And I appreciate hardcore software engineers. I know that they're very odd people, and they tend to be, peculiar and have, I know, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, I could
And they
agree with
either
that.
only like iOS or they only like, they have their things, but I appreciate them because they're very practical people.
Mhm.
They do think out of the box and they can solve a lot of problems. They're not social, so they're not going
Literally.
to solve people problems, but they're going to solve other kinds of problems.
Absolutely. And in that coding boot camp, I also learned that, hey, I'm not going to be a software engineer. That's not my thing. What I love about email marketing too is just you build out one campaign and you send it off into the world, and that's it. And then, you build another campaign. It's just constantly changing. It's not like one still website or like looking at that black screen with all the code on it all day. No, I don't know. I guess I am more of a creative thinker and problem solver. I love finding images and fonts and design and all that good stuff. But again, I love that email is like, a new week, there's a new thing, there's something different. It's not just the same kind of thing all the time. So,
Yeah, I have to agree. That's why we're in the business. Some people may not be able to handle that. They want they
yeah.
want the same thing. Right? They want to know. I know what I'm doing next week because I did it this week. I mean, the thing is, we have our process. We know the steps that we need to take.
Right.
So those steps don't change. It's just, where is that image? I don't know. What is the content? I don't know. What last week? Well, let's take a look. Oh yeah, but that doesn't apply to what we're doing this week. So I don't know. And you're faced with a lot of I don't knows, and that scares some people.
Yeah, yeah.
But the concept is for email marketers, it's just like, let's try this.
Yes.
Here's, we know that verbs work, so let's stick with the verbs, okay? Let's not, like why, how those things work too. So let's, let's stick with the things that work. We know these marketing things that work. Um, don't get me on the FOMO bandwagon though, because I don't think that works. I might be the last person on the planet that doesn't think that, but I think FOMO works once, twice, three times. You're out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing too. A lot of these tactics are like you have to use them sparingly, otherwise they get stale really quickly. Yeah. And I guess scare tactics too, like, oh, this is your last chance. You never want to. It doesn't work for the long term. Maybe for like a Black Friday kind of thing or a Cyber Monday push, things like that might work. But yeah, there's
I mean,
so many little trendy design ideas I'm thinking about, and that I'm like, yeah, you can only use that like once a year.
exactly.
People get tired of it, unfortunately.
Exactly. They don't trust you. It's like, oh, really?
Yeah,
Is this another blockbuster sale? Okay. Didn't you
we
didn't you
saw
have a
this last week.
blockbuster sale
Yeah.
last week? What are we blockbusting
We
now?
don't care. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe your margin, maybe your profit margin is not right.
Hmm.
Maybe you ought to talk to accounting. Anyway, so let's talk about ESPs. Let's find
Okay.
out from you, Val, what ESP do you want to talk about, or ESPs do you want to talk about? So let's think.
Well, my favorite ESP is Mailchimp. I've been using it for about four years. I love that it's very user friendly. I feel like, first of all, their chat, okay, a lot of websites these days and a lot of these ESPs, they have that little chat bot thing in the bottom right corner. So I've had to use that in Mailchimp a lot here recently, and they connect me with the real person very quickly. That real person can kind of go in and like take over my account and literally fix whatever issue I'm having. And I love that. They're always accessible. Then they like email you a transcription of the conversation that you had. They follow up with you, and like a week later, like, hey, did you ever figure out that question? And I'm like, I'm not going to respond to the email, but I'm just grateful that they followed up. You know what I mean? So definitely Mailchimp. Um, on the flip side of that, there are some downsides. I feel like they're always tweaking things and changing things and moving things around. And I'm like, wait, this was here last week. Why did you guys move it? But then I started to think to myself, maybe they're doing their own version of like A/B testing where things go, or are people complaining about we moved this action here, or people feeling too overwhelmed by all the AI tools that they've integrated into the platform. But yeah, generally Mailchimp is my lover.
And, it's a good platform to start on, and you can grow into it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. For
Right?
sure.
I think it connects with a lot of different tools. So, I mean, Mailchimp was one of the first ESPs.
Yep.
They've been around for a really long time, and the only person that ever took them, they merged into it. But otherwise, it was Mailchimp in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, I didn't know that's where they were based.
Yeah, I believe it's Atlanta. I believe it's Atlanta. I know it's Georgia. I believe it's Atlanta. So they've been around for a really long time. It was my first account. So I purchased it for myself because I'm like, oh, I'm an email marketer, so I need to have an email marketing account. It worked well because when I was working with clients, one of the things that Mailchimp does very nicely, it's one username in to multiple accounts. Very, very streamlined. As opposed to, I'm going to say it, Salesforce Marketing Cloud. If I work for 4 or 5 people that have an account with Salesforce Marketing Cloud, I have 4 or 5 accounts.
That's annoying.
That's very annoying. I can't go in as, what I do with Mailchimp is like, my username is like developer. More or less. I'm not giving everybody my username. It's developer. And it gives me a drop down. Which account do I want to work with today? So that's very important for email marketing contractors and freelancers or agencies.
Yeah.
It's very important. So there's a lot of things that can be said for Mailchimp. Is it the very, very best? Do I love to death? No, but I don't love anything to death.
I love it. I don't know. Maybe I'm still
in love.
But I am. I do love it. And I will say too, well, there's another thing that I do like about Mailchimp is that you can use, I'm an old school like HTML email developer type, but then they also have just the drag and drop. So for the people who aren't as technical, I think, whoa, I don't like it because I feel like it's too clunky. You can't really customize it as much. I prefer the HTML, but I like that it's more accessible for people who don't have the more technical skills. So it's another thing that I love about it.
Do they let you build templates? Like module templates? I haven't. They used to a long time ago.
I think you can. I believe you can. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say that you can. Yeah.
Because that's handy when you're working with a client that says, here's my template, and while, maybe the job is build me templates and then step away. You as the developer step away, and I'm going to do the, my department, my company, whatever it is. I am whatever is, I'm going to do it myself. So having some sort of a proprietary language that allows you to build the modules so that they could go in and put their content in modules that they expect to see from month to month to month to month, as opposed to using their module or system that may have a few kinks in it when you try to turn a module that they've created into a module you want to create. Like, it's subtly different. I was arguing with a block the other day. I was like, oh, just do it their way. But I was just like, I have small projects that I do volunteer, and I needed to put in a bullet block.
Mhm.
It was arguing with the bullet block. Just arguing with me. It's like, and I'm like, I'm not going to turn this project into an HTML template simply because I want a bulleted block. That's dumb.
Yeah. You don't have a lot of flexibility sometimes in some of those modules. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, well, what it was doing was, because I can't get into the CSS because it's not my code.
Right.
It's doing what it wants to do, and it wouldn't let me override it.
Ugh.
It's like, really? You're not going to let me override this? Even with important and 5 exclamation points? I'm like, okay, you know what? Stop fighting this. Just make the stupid blocks the way you want it. Done with it. Not going to make it like the user is not going to get the email and go, oh, look at this listed block. What's wrong with this with this product? They don't. That's one problem we have as email marketers. We obsess over how it looks, and the user doesn't even see it.
I know.
Doesn't
We
even.
get so caught up in, oh my God, there's an extra space here, or oh, I need to take away like 10 pixels of padding. Like, people don't care. I mean, if they're really devoted and they really want to, take a magnifying glass, they might care. But generally, I feel like people are just scanning, skimming, and then they're either clicking and buying or clicking and donating, clicking
Or
to learn,
reading.
and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Unsubscribe. That's what they're looking for. And
Really.
that's it.
Make the font big enough so they can see it. Get that button up there. Make it a
Mhm.
nice picture. Be done with it.
Above the fold, and you're good.
Yes. And even though there's no such thing as above the fold in mobile, there is.
Yeah.
Because, if they're going to go like this,
That's true. That's true.
that's a problem.
Now that you mentioned that, it is true that there's really no above the fold in mobile. I hadn't thought of that.
No, there's no above. But if you have to make
I
them,
mean, yeah, you're gonna scroll.
the point is that the content needs to be very interesting for them to do that.
Exactly.
And
Right.
if you're relying on the interest of your user in the content that you're writing to purchase something, you lose.
That's got to be at the top.
That's got to be at the top. I mean,
Obviously,
make something so that they could buy. It might be a URL, a line. Don't put a raw link there, people. Do you see that a lot? I see raw links a lot.
Really?
Yes.
No.
The people that are doing, maybe it's solopreneurs, the people that are doing their own emails are using raw links a lot. And I think to myself, who's telling them to do this? Do they not understand how to do a link in email marketing?
And that's what it is. I would like to think that they just aren't aware of that. Hey, you can hyperlink text or images or buttons, but to see a raw link, I don't even know the last time I've seen that.
A few. I've seen a few.
Yeah.
I know. And, I feel for people because I will, as a freelancer, I will talk with lots of people and I'll say, who's doing your email marketing? Oh, we're doing it in-house. Small companies. Oh, you're doing it in-house. I'm like, anytime you need any help, just let me know. Oh, no, we got it. And they don't. They don't got it. I could tell. And I feel bad. I really feel bad. And, I think I should not be offering my services at no charge.
Oh no. Well,
They can't
I'm
afford it.
being hypocritical in saying that because I help people all the time at no charge. But yeah, you should be compensated, right? For your efforts, for your expertise. Mind you, I'm saying the same thing to myself
I
as I'm
know.
saying it to you, but sometimes it's just you just feel bad. You're like, if with this one tweak, your life would probably be so much better. Or, you might see astronomical profits, but
Just saying. So so what give us an example, something that Mailchimp does
Mhm.
that it does so well.
Hmm.
And then the opposite is going to be tell me something that Mailchimp does that really sucks. So both.
Well, one thing that I definitely love about it, and we spoke about this kind of earlier on, was metrics and analytics. So I like to run a lot of A/B tests, sometimes back to back to back, just to figure out what really works. Because sometimes, you have the once in a lifetime or once in a blue moon A/B test that's like, hey, this worked really, really well, and this one performed very poorly. But one thing that I love about Mailchimp is the way that it lays out the results. It's just, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm a very creative person. I love color, but it's just so intuitive. I mean, it's not like Marketo. You love Marketo, right? I feel like
No, 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 no. I
I
use
know.
Marketo has a lot of strength, and
Okay.
I will tell people who are doing
The
specific things to use
the women
Marketo.
marketing group. I thought you were like a woo
I
Marketo
know.
person.
Well, as I said, there are two products, and the other one is Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So they're both 1999 product
Mm.
that never upgraded some things. So the analytics is one of them. It's like, here are your analytics. It's like,
Oh my
could you
God.
give me some
I
butter on
can't.
that dry toast?
I can't. And that's my
That's the
whole
point.
entire point. The analytics of Marketo,
Yeah.
terrible. It's
You
just
gotta
really inaccurate too. It doesn't make sense.
it,
So, ugh.
and if you're not, I'm the type of person that makes stuff up. When I say that, I mean that. I mean, I look at stuff and I'm like, oh, what's going on there?
Right.
Let's make up a story. Does it work? Maybe. No. So I make stuff up. I could do that with numbers, but when you've got graphics or you've got a better analytic software, sometimes you don't need to make stuff up because it's staring you in the face,
Right.
and
And
that's
that's the
important.
case for Mailchimp. Yeah. Because they also have like a click map where they show you your email, and then you're able to just hover over each section of the email, and they're able to tell you on the right hand there's like a pane that pops out that tells you this is how many unique clicks, this is how many of the recipients who also clicked. And the way that they break it out, chef's kiss. It's just, I love it. I really, really love it. And it's easy to just take that information and apply it to tracking. And if you have to present that to the team or whatever at the end of the quarter, it's all there. It just makes life a lot easier. One thing that I wish they did have was like a statistical significance calculator. That's one thing that one of my clients was really big on, a huge stickler on, was like, okay, yeah, this one had a 50% open rate and this one was like a 45% open rate and the click rate was that and that, but is it statistically significant? So if don't get me wrong, there's like a whole other website you can go to calculate that, just pop in a few numbers. But I think if Mailchimp implemented that into their analytics, their metrics pages or whatever, I think it'd be a game changer.
Yeah, that brings us to the question of the tech stack. So there are times when either somebody says, yeah, but this can't do that, or can you do this? And you're like, this is not going to do it. So I'm going to have to pull my data into, AI. I mean, AI
Mhm.
is pretty powerful in the tech stack.
Totally agree with you on that.
So you can upload your data to AI and say, analyze this
Hmm.
for opens, clicks, conversions, whatever it is, and it will come back. Something that, with trends that you may not have seen.
Yeah.
So AI can do that. But are you using a lot of the AI tools that Mailchimp has?
That was actually going to be my answer to the second part of your question, was kind of one of the downsides. So I noticed that they do have like a lot of those AI suggestions, or as you're typing in your subject line, it's like, oh, use AI to make it better. And when it first arrived, I was like, oh, okay, let's try it. And haven't seen much growth in that department. It generates a lot of just general subject lines. I don't find it super helpful. So I think they need to improve their AI tools within Mailchimp, but also don't do too much because I still need a job. But
Yeah, really
I think
don't.
they have some work to do in terms of integrating those AI tools into. Yeah,
I have
hold it
used
up.
their tools, and I have used Clavio's, and I also found it to be very similar. Even when I go to my AI and I say, here's the content, provide me with some subject lines, pre-headers, please remember to use verbs, and it comes back with pretty standard crap. And I'm like, can
It's
you
too
think
general.
a little out of the box? And it can't.
Yeah, yeah. You can't push it. I think it's still like on AI version 1, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't think they're putting too much of an investment in keeping it up to
I
date.
don't, if I prompt it, if I'm having a conversation, I probably would be able to, within the conversation that I'm having, get more content from just the conversation back and forth than if I were to say, give me 10 subject lines and pre-headers. I have a podcast. Here we go. So I have conversations with Claude. I use Anthropic, and I have a project, so it's all prompted out, and I just say, here's the transcript. Do your, your instructions. Do it, and it will come back with a lot of content. 9 times out of 10, the subject lines stink. And I've given up going back and forth. But I found if I read through all the content that it has provided, I can come up with something. So I'm like, leave it. It's good. Sometimes, it hasn't figured out, for whatever reason, I don't understand, because it's all Google and YouTube is all AI. It hasn't figured out the algorithm yet. I'm like, I don't know why it hasn't, but it clearly hasn't. It'll give me this really long line of content. I'm like, that's a negative. Like, it doesn't want too long. It needs, you need to say why, how, where, when, that will do it. You could say,
Yeah.
why does your shit stink? And it will love that, will love that title. It's just, it wants you to engage the customer, the person, the browser, the audience. You have to engage them. And the problem is between that algorithm and staying true to my ethics. Like, I'm not going to start talking about the most popular trends to get somebody to open up content that I'm stretching on.
Yeah.
To get it open. It's going to be the content that it is. So it's somewhat of a battle. And that's always been the same thing with subject lines. And I will argue the fact that a subject line doesn't do anything anyway, because it's the envelope. It is not just a subject line, but it's who it's coming from. So if it says that it's coming from, I don't know. I always use the classic ones, Skechers, DSW. If you're looking for shoes and you get the email from Skechers, doesn't matter what the subject line is, you've got it from Skechers. Now, if you're doing something weird with an email, and for whatever reason, you think that the person's name is more important than the product, you're wrong. That person had better be, Elon Musk. that person has to have a name for himself. And
Right.
when that person moves on and you insert somebody else's name, you lose again. It's the
Agreed.
brand. I don't care,
It is the
Bob from
brand.
Skechers. I really don't care.
100% agree with you on that. If people don't care, they're not going to open. They might mark you as spam, and to be fair too, a lot of our emails are going to the promotion tab. If you have, in Gmail, you have the promotions tab. And a lot of people go to that tab and actually, interact with the emails that are in there. But a lot of people don't. Even as an email marketer, I'm very selective on what types of emails I open in my own inbox. So I always try to keep that in mind when I'm working for other clients. And, if people don't care, if they don't want to donate or they want to unsubscribe because they don't care about whatever you're selling or pushing, or it just, I don't know. It's very temperamental. People are temperamental to begin with, but yeah, email marketing it's complicated. I don't know any other way to
It's so easy. It's
explain that,
complicated.
but yeah.
So easy. It's complicated. There's a science involved, and
Sure.
it's not brain surgery, but it's science. Right?
For
It's science.
sure. And you know what? I just want to say one more thing about the AI subject lines. To your point, though, sometimes it'll generate crappy subject lines, but you can pick, ooh, this verb will really work with this. Pick out a keyword, plop that into whatever you thought would work, and there you go. But
Exactly.
yeah, they definitely need more work on figuring that out on Mailchimp, and even like ChatGPT. I've been using that a lot lately. The one thing I will say with using ChatGPT is if you work consistently, like within the same chat, you can kind of train that model on how to talk in your voice or create subject lines. And, even though they still might run long or too many emojis, you can work with it a little bit, or at least just use it as inspiration. So I do
The point
appreciate
is
AI for that.
exactly. You use it as inspiration. It's that assistant that you just
Mm-hmm.
roll your chair over to and go, listen, help me out here. Just give me something.
Right, right.
I don't care. Just give me, and you just brainstorm together. It doesn't need to be great. It just needs to continue the process. Your inspiration needs to, it needs food. It's thirsty. You can't always, you
I
can't
agree.
always do these things alone. You can't.
You actually can. Yeah, you can.
Do you have I said AI. Do you have any other tools that you use regularly to help you out in your work?
Well, if we're talking about specifically when I'm using Mailchimp, there is like a litmus extension that I use in my browser. So I use Brave as like my primary browser just for like privacy reasons. I find it pretty good about, protecting my privacy online. But I added on like the litmus extension. Don't get me wrong, some days it doesn't work, but I love it because if I'm in Mailchimp and I have my code, I can just click on that litmus icon, and on the right hand side of my screen, it'll just populate, AOL. It'll just show me all these different email clients, so I can just preview 30 different emails. How to look in those different clients at once, and it's really an invaluable tool. So that's one that I kind of live and breathe when I'm in Mailchimp for sure.
It's
And
helpful.
it also has like dark mode and ugh. Because sometimes Outlook, I can't stand. I mean, I know we all use Outlook, but there's always just something that's wrong with Outlook. Like the email just doesn't look as crisp as it could, or as crisp as it looks in like Gmail and all these other platforms. But yeah, I can't stand Outlook. But hey,
I don't know how many.
we don't have a choice.
I know. I don't know how many times I've had conversations with designers when I say, listen, the main client is Outlook.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, our design needs to be very straightforward. Don't go for Mona Lisa. Go for stacking. Make it simple, because it's going to come back and you're going to say, well, this isn't working in Outlook version da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, and it's not gonna, because you wanted to be a black background, and at some point it's gonna break, and there you go. Well, what do you mean? Can't you
Understand
fix
why
that?
the people at Outlook have to know that email marketers struggle to code and design for their
They don't
like,
care. They don't care. I don't
like, come
understand.
on.
Well, it's
Oh,
the
I
point is
write
that
them an
they're not
email.
email marketing. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I've never understood why they go back and forth with their document model, the DOM, the document object model. And for Outlook, they use Microsoft, and
Yeah.
that's okay, but it doesn't work.
Right.
Microsoft is not email. Why don't you use, for whatever reason, they don't, and they won't.
I know.
You know,
It's just
it's
pointless.
very similar to, why does Apple insist on so many proprietary things that it's not comparable to the PC, or that it's not.
Mm,
It's like you must have a Apple ID. I must have an
yeah.
Apple ID. I don't have a
Right.
I don't have to have a iOS ID. Not iOS. I don't have to have an Android ID. What are you doing here? But you must have an. So it's similar. It's that
Yeah.
thought process, and you can't get out of it. It's not. They don't want it to be open source. They don't
Yeah.
want it to be open source. And
They want you to be in a cult.
and well, I mean, I've said it only 50,000 times. When I found out that Microsoft was putting to bed Windows 10, I had a party.
Whoa.
So they're not supporting it.
Right. Right.
So now when I
That's
get,
a load off.
why isn't it working in Windows 10? It's not supported. Done.
Next.
Not supported. Well, what does that mean? That means that if there's something that needs to be fixed, they're not going to fix it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work today. It's not going to work tomorrow. It's not going to work the next day. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just telling you. And at some point, it's going to fall apart the seams. It's just, everything else is going to keep moving, and it's not, because the operating systems around Windows 10 are going to keep moving. So every piece of software is going to keep moving, and Windows 10 is not going to update their software to manage that, any of those updates. The end. Every time you get the message, update your system, you have to hit a button and it loads software. It doesn't do it if you're on Windows 10.
Mm,
It's not going to do it anymore.
right.
The end. What can I tell you? So next little thing that we could talk about, what anything in Mailchimp that you've discovered that's really helpful that may not have been there before. So, it goes along with the question is, what are they updating? Is this good? Is it bad? How does that work? Things that surprise you, like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. They actually did X.
Well, I talked a little bit about like the AI tools that they've incorporated over the last year or two. So I'm excited to see how that, evolves over time. They've also, I don't know, they've also made it easier to kind of like upload images, GIFs, however you pronounce it. They've added like I know this is super like granular, but they have added like another tab on like your left hand pane that allows you to just kind of click on that to go to like your image library. So you can just take things straight from your desktop and just drop them over there, as opposed to, before you had to go into an email campaign, go to the studio, and then import, images that way. They've just made it so much easier to just share images in that, or upload images and videos and all kinds of things that way. And, your whole team or everybody that's under your username or like company name, everybody has access to it. So it's just a lot easier. It made our lives a lot a lot easier for sure.
Yeah, I think that they're beginning to compartmentalize processes so that instead of you having to hunt and peck,
Mhm.
there's like 5 ways to do the same thing.
Exactly.
So, if you're just an image editor and you're only uploading, okay. But if you're, if you're creating the campaigns from scratch and you're the developer, but you're also adding the content and the images, you could do that. There's a few different ways of managing it. So they're listening to their users
Agree.
and they're making it, they're updating the systems. I mean, all ESPs do that, or at least they say they do that. Klaviyo was pretty strong in doing that for a while. But for better or for worse, I can't tell you. But I know that they were doing it. Mailchimp has stakes. Klaviyo had a lot of stakes because they were trying to branch out of just e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so they were listening to lots of different users and trying to provide processes for different users. So they had stakes. Mailchimp is trying to be sort of like the answer to a lot of questions.
Exactly.
They want to solve a lot of problems. The fact that they're part of Intuit, they want to make sure that the customer almost is like a one-stop shop.
Right.
Like they buy Intuit, they buy Mailchimp. That's sort of what they're trying to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But just keep that in mind that's their strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I really can't imagine that they're trying to compete with the enterprise versions. I think they want to go into the large business, but not large enterprise business.
Right.
So they're not going to try to solve, IBM's problems. Like, IBM, well, I don't even think IBM is that big anymore. Any of these big, huge, Nordstrom. Like, no, we're not going to solve problems for Nordstrom. But we will, do it for a smaller chain of stores.
Right.
Right. So,
And that, I think that kind of ties back to their, as I mentioned before, it's just so user friendly. I think that's why I love it too, is because to me it's fairly easy to find things, and as you mentioned, there are 5 different ways to do one thing, or 5 different ways to access certain information, and I appreciate that.
And I think their pricing model still.
And I was gonna say too,
Affordable.
which my only fear though is with a platform like Mailchimp / Intuit, is that they get so good at it and they kind of get everybody hooked, and then they just like, oh, okay, we're gonna raise prices by.
That's what Klaviyo did.
You just got to
That's what
deal with
Klaviyo
it
did.
because you're so dependent on us now, and there's no way you're gonna migrate or start from scratch somewhere else. So give us our money, and that really pisses me off.
Yeah.
But I know that's a long-term strategy that a lot of these subscription-based companies are doing nowadays. We're seeing it in streaming, we're seeing it all over, but I don't like that.
I don't like that. Active Campaigns did that. A lot of them did that. And that's frustrating for the customer.
Yeah.
And they really need to understand that they're leaving. Well, they don't really care because, they're not making money on the solopreneur. But the solopreneur needs a tool. So you got to, think about it in some way.
Yeah.
Mailchimp still cares about the small user because I have a grandfathered account. I'm not going to tell you how much it is, but it's 2 digits. I'm paying on a monthly basis. I have a grandfathered account. From the year, I don't know, 2000 something. I have an account there. So may even be older than that. So, I'm just saying it does matter because I use Mailchimp, and the point is I'm a developer, so I'm suggesting it to others. I'm in there using it for others. It's not just me. They need to consider that. Another question for you. Did we talk about the fact that any migration stories that you wanted to share? I mean, they're not huge, but moving somebody from one to another, it doesn't even have to be Mailchimp. I mean, the concept of moving and what does it entail? Because migrations, it's just like, oh, we'll use this product for a while and then we'll move to another. It's like, oh, that's a lot of work.
Not great. I don't have a lot of migration stories. I've heard they can be a nightmare for a lot of people. The one that I'm thinking about is I had like a massage therapy client with this pretty small list. And when I say small, I mean around 1,500, maybe a little less. And I moved her to Constant Contact. But honestly, it was pretty straightforward. My biggest challenge was just building out templates. She wanted like templates so that, her emails were promotional, but she wanted them to kind of be uniform. This month we're promoting the prenatal massages. This week it's, what we did in the community, that kind of thing. So that was my biggest challenge in that way. And I was her first email marketer, so she didn't really have any structure. So it made sense for me to kind of go through and kind of, after a couple of sins, I was able to segment out, okay, these people are always opening the emails, these people are pretty much inactive. That was kind of fun for me. But also, I think she was really impressed with that too. So I'm good at organizing lists and just getting people started. But yeah, I don't know if I would count that as really like a migration story because she didn't really have anything set up before. But that comes to mind when you asked about.
Yeah, when you start something up, you need a list. And for anybody that's doing email marketing, process lists are pretty important. And I'm going to also say the documentation. Not that I document, and I'm not going to make you say you document, but documentation is pretty important because within 6 months, I have no idea what I did and why I did it.
I found too, Joy, between me and you and podcast listeners, but I
And
think
everyone
some
else.
people enjoy not having documentation because they are deemed invaluable because, oh, they're the expert. You always have to look to Joy to figure out XYZ. So I've found that some people are like, meh. People just should know if they need this done, they have to come through me because I'm the only person who can do this. Personally, I don't mind documenting, throwing together a Word doc, Google Sheet, whatever it is, and just laying out steps, screenshots. As you mentioned, you can reference it yourself.
Just
If you forget
something.
how to do something or whatever.
I call them cheat sheets. It's not documentation, but
I love that.
I found that when I begin a project now, I open up a notepad and I start throwing in stuff that I'm doing. So it may be a code snippet. It may be anything. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's probably not going to mean anything to anyone else. But when I say, okay, Joy, we're going to do this project. Remember when we did it 7 months ago? I don't know what I ate for breakfast today. You're asking me what I did 7 months ago? So then I'm like, okay, 7 months ago, let's open. Yeah, I do. Yeah. So some sort of documentation. And obviously, if you're legacy minded, then the documentation needs to be clear.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm the same way. I love to work on a Mac, so instead of Notepad, I use my notes. And man, everything just I'm super organized. It's organized chaos though, because I understand it. But to an outsider, they'd probably like, "What is this?" But it's kind of like a junk drawer of notes and all that kind of stuff. But I live and breathe it. I really do.
Anything that will aid me, because if you're constantly solving problems, one of the biggest things about when you're constantly solving problems is you solve a problem and you solve it a particular way and it works and you're done with it, and then 6 months later you're like, why don't I do it that way? I should do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to go back and redo it. There's no need to, but you don't want to. And these are things that we, as problem solvers, remember. And then when the project gets reopened, or there's another campaign that's similar to that campaign, that's when you can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, those notes are helpful because you're gonna forget. Like it's that list when you go food shopping. You don't have a list. You're like, I know what I'm doing. You come home and you're like, I forgot to buy X. What the heck is wrong with me? That's what I'm making dinner. I gotta go out and I need lists. I'm the person that needs lists because my mind is constantly working on lots of different things, and I don't need to remember everything. There are some people that can. I find that at some point in time, as many cheat sheets that you can have, the better.
And you know what?
I've got
I
a book,
actually
and I've got
recently,
this book and that book. I mean, I've got books of just, remind me. Just remind me, please.
I created here recently I created like a QA checklist for just making sure emails, there aren't any typos, the links work, the tracking's there, the images work on all these different devices. But I actually created it and I'm selling it on like Etsy just for other email marketers because I feel like it's so valuable. You might get feedback one week and they're like, hey, got to make sure that this button goes here instead of there. And then you forget it. And then, if you put it on a checklist, it's much easier to reference it and say, oh, yeah, I got to make sure this is still there. And yeah. So shameless plug, it's on my website.
Go.
But
It's important. These things are
that
important.
kind of stuff
These
really
things
has
are
saved
important.
me a lot of headache. Checklists.
Yes. I live and breathe with digital and tactile checklists. I can't live without my calendar. Can't live without my calendar. So everything is attached to my calendar. It's on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I can't live without it. So if you tell me to do something, be there, it's going in my calendar. Because if it's not in my calendar, I'm going to overbook.
Right.
And it's not like I have this big life. I'm just saying that there's a lot going on for all of us. And if I will either overbook or not be there or say, yeah, when I mean, no, I can't make that. Okay. So, is there anything, I know, you just mentioned images. Is there anything else that's changed in Mailchimp recently that moved the needle for you?
Move the needle?
No?
Not really. We talked about the AI stuff. We talked about the new, the ease of uploading images, and that's all in one spot. That's it. Honestly, that's top of mind for me. Nothing else.
What other ESPs have you worked in? Just and then you might be able to say, I worked in this ESP and I was doing this kind of work. So maybe give an idea of how these things work, and you could say it was a good ESP for that. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, Marketo is another one that I work in as well. I don't have to use it as much, thank goodness, as 'cause ew, I just don't like how it's laid out. It's super clunky to me. I'm not gonna say I hate it, but I kind of hate it. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of Marketo. But I know it's not made for just email marketing. There's so many other things you can do outside of it, so I understand that. So yeah, that's not one of my favorite ones.
Proprietary templates.
Right.
So you could build a customer proprietary template.
Yeah.
And lock them in, and they're happy.
Yeah. I get it, and I understand all of that. Again, I'm an HTML girly. I love I love that that aspect of email marketing. Outside of Marketo, I've used Constant Contact. We kind of touched on this earlier for like nonprofit clients, much more like smaller clients. Also clunky, not my favorite. But what I do appreciate about Constant Contact, they have like polls. Like you can insert polls into their emails, which I don't think you can do in Mailchimp or Marketo. But they're like living and breathing polls, so you can ask a question at the bottom of an email or even at the top, and people can answer, and it'll capture that data, and then you can kind of look at it. And it's a fun way to get people to click and really interact, and also to get their opinions on how your business is performing. Did they enjoy whatever product? What was their favorite part? What's the best time to open an email for them? Those kind of things actually come in handy with constant contact. But other than that, because that's a one-off, right? Not every single email requires a poll or something like that, or like a living and breathing invitation to something. HubSpot, I actually like HubSpot. I haven't used it in probably 3 years now. Or did I use that for landing pages?
Mm.
Maybe I'm thinking of that more in like a web design aspect, not necessarily email marketing. But I do love the interface of HubSpot, so that's one of my favorites. And one ESP that I've kind of worked with for a much, much smaller client. It's called Mailer Lite,
Mm.
but it's basically, have you heard of it? I know a lot of people haven't. Okay, yeah. Super simple, super easy to use. You don't have to know how to code. You can create your own templates, drag and drop images. It's pretty rigid, like you don't have a lot of flexibility and fonts and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I found it really easy to use, especially for people who aren't very technical. So that's my list.
Mm. I'm gonna my last word here is going to be about Substack, because I'm noticing everybody's going over to Substack.
Yeah, everybody has one.
Everybody.
Even my mama.
And it offers email marketing, and that's fine. I am not familiar with Substack. It's more of a content management system. So if you're going to be writing blogs, or if you've got a product and you're using content, you're using you've got a store and you're using Substack to be in the middle of your email marketing in your store, and you're pushing I don't know, you're using it as the middleman. The concept is that Substack, you're looking for subscriptions to Substack. When people go to subscribe to your Substack, it asks you if you want to be with this person, that person. You're suddenly mixed. You're not
Really?
one person. It's going to automatically set you up with 5 other people. So Substack is selling you other people that are like this person. I don't want to be like that person. If I go to Macy's and I sign up with Macy's, I don't want Macy's to say, oh, and you want Nordstrom's, and no, I want Macy's. Thank you very much. I don't care about Nordstrom's. I don't have time for this nonsense. So I recently was looking for grants, and for whatever reason, they set themselves up in Substack. So it led me to a Substack where I had to pay to get into to get into the content. I was like, okay, let's see how much. Like, it's $10. What is it? Do they have a freebie? Because sometimes there's a freebie channel.
Right.
There was no freebie channel. So I said no, but I was also looking at the fact that they were setting me up with like 5 other people. So I'm not loving the Substack model. The email itself that I get from people who are in Substack, that are using Substack, I only want to say be very careful, because if you've got a business model where your emails is your product, or the product is what your content behind the wall, and the only way to get, aside from hawking it, the straight way to get to it is through your email. If you're doing that button in the email is, if you're not giving people something free, then that button also is going to always expect them to upgrade. That's not the right experience.
No, not at all.
And that's where Substack is a problem, I believe. The model is very aggressive. It's very partnered. So that's the way they're thinking it. So hey, if you come on Substack, not only will your customers see yours, but people who are reading similar content are going to see yours, because you're going to get matched up with those other people. Oh, and then you're going to grow your audience, and that's great. But what I'm saying is, you're forcing people to pay, and that's something that, as you know, that irks me. That paywall, that concept of I'm going to open my mouth, and as soon as I do, it's going to cost you. That model bothers me. And I'm not saying we should make money, and I'm not saying people shouldn't try to make money, and that they're not valuable, and that they're not a service, and all of these things. I'm not saying that. I'm merely saying that trying to make money on every bloody thing that comes out of your mouth gets old real fast.
Say that again. Yeah.
And I might be wrong. Oh, Joy, people will pay. They'll pay $100. They'll pay $300 just to hear you say no. They won't. No. And the people that will pay that much money, I don't even know if they should be listening to me. I don't know. I would rather have somebody come without thinking that they need to pay to come to share in their experience, feel that they can be part of it, and just turn it into something bigger than it is, as opposed to, it's a paid model, this is the way it is, if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Right.
Go somewhere else. You're not my customer. It's okay.
I've heard so much about Substacks throughout this year, right? I think it hasn't even been around a full year. I could be wrong on that.
It's been
But
around a while, but it became
really
wildly
popular,
popular.
like within the last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I see a
Everybody's
lot
on
of people on
Substack.
social are like, "Oh, read the rest on my Substack," and I feel like I've gotten into there's somebody who's in the email marketing world. I don't know how I started getting her emails about her Substack. I literally don't even know how that happened. But yeah, I don't feel like I need to pay for blogs. I mean, if it's something I really, really want to read, maybe, but chances are I'm not gonna pay for a Substack subscription. But
Yeah.
maybe just having a moment. I don't know. A lot of these trends and platforms come and go.
Exactly. Your
Kind of
content is
reminds
your
me of
own. If your content is up at
right.
Substack, it's not your content. And when it's time to pull it down, just be thinking that. Like, this has always been the problem, with ESPs. Social people will say, oh, social isn't your content. And if they pull social down, you don't have it. So I would suggest you become an email marketer. And I'm like, your ESP account is not your content. And if they go out of business, you're going to have
True too.
you're going to have to do the same thing. So they're very similar. And merely all I'm saying is that, at one point in time, I had a Tumblr account.
I was
Tumblr,
gonna
remember
say
Tumblr?
Substack reminds me of Tumblr. Yep. And was it WordPress or somewhere else people used to go to blog? I can't remember what it was. But yeah, Tumblr. I remember Tumblr era.
So I had a Tumblr account, and all my content was there, and then I realized it's not mine, it's Tumblr's. And, it's okay. I don't want to be in control of it until I do. And then I did. And I was like, it's time for me to put it in my website. But a lot of people will look at Substack as being their website. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm merely saying think about it. Just think about it. Think about the model. If it will work for you. I've thought about it more than once or twice, because I'm always trying to figure out a way to monetize the podcast. And every single time I think that I'm going to find a new way to monetize it, that way of monetizing turns into ick in my mind. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I don't know. Am I like some sort of a oddball that
No, I think you're a
I'm an
person of
oddball?
principles and morals and ethics. I'm the same way. I don't feel like, you should advertise things that you don't believe in, or you should support causes that you don't believe in, or attach your face, your name, your brand, your podcast to things that you don't want. I mean, hey, you hate ketchup? Don't have Heinz as an ad, Stay true to you. The right opportunities will come.
Right.
Or not, but they might.
The point is that,
No.
exactly, either the right opportunity will come or it won't. And at some point, it's not feasible and it's not sustainable. And
Right.
that's okay. That's okay. But I don't feel like, I was hawking Heinz when I would never use it at all.
Right. Exactly.
When somebody says, "Oh, pass the Heinz," I don't have any. What do you mean you don't have any? You talk about it at no end. I know. Disgusting. It's all sugar. Don't use that stuff. We'll put a tomato on top of it.
A hot mic, and then you're gonna be in the news. Like, what? Go ahead, Heinz. Yeah, that's
Go for it, because I do. My husband,
a lot of the podcasts
my
out there.
husband could not live without Heinz.
Really?
Oh God, that and the commercial, the Tabasco commercial. I put that shit on everything. He would put Heinz on everything. He couldn't have a potato without ketchup
I could see that.
or butter.
Well, okay, I'm thinking fries, not like an actual baked potato.
No.
Oh.
The baked potato had to have butter and cream and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. But
So,
yeah, fries. I
make
can
it
see
nothing.
that.
Make it nothing. Egg has to have ketchup. It's like, come on. That's what spices are for. Oh, I don't like those spices. What do you think is in Heinz? Or at least, where do you think that concept came from? Before they loaded it up with sugar and turned it into a lollipop with tomatoes in it. Just saying. All right, there goes my Heinz nonsense. Any last words you want to share with our people, to stop me from venting about anything and everything?
It's been a pleasure, Joy. Thank you for having me. Your fan base can find me at ValerieKEmoMarketing.com. So yeah, look for me there. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Valerie K Emo Marketing.
I will find you on those different platforms and put the information down there so that it will be in the description.
This was fun. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you giving me your time and sharing your brain cells with me. Always appreciate it. And that, as they say, is a wrap. Thanks.
Bye.